Some of the environmental trends that are disturbing scientists are hard to notice, but others are far less subtle.
The skyscrapers of downtown New York City stand in 80 feet of water. Its famous subway system submerged.
Boston, Philadelphia, Washington, Miami, they would all be underwater.
Melting ice has flooded the oceans. The Arctic ice cap is long gone. Severe weather relentlessly assaults the planet.
Record heat, record drought, record flooding. This is not a world we want to get into.
Crop failure, mass migration, riots, extinction. Global warming. Two words that often invoke dire predictions of the planet's future. But is this really our destiny?
This is the most serious of environmental problems. It's the one that we need to solve now.
We head to all corners of the globe.
The size of the population has declined. The future doesn't look good.
Speak with leading scientists.
Coral bleaching events are clearly telling us that reefs are in trouble.
And examine the evidence to find out what global warming really means and if rising temperatures can truly make a difference between the world we know today and a world we may not recognize tomorrow. January 1, 2006. Across southern Australia, the summer heat blasts its way into the record books. In the capital of Sydney, temperatures top 111 degrees. By the end of January, the most destructive brush fires in 20 years raged throughout the country, killing 9 people. After the hottest year on record, the new year brings only more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, look how hot this is. This is just amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It's hot country.
In New South Wales, Fire Chief Russell Rees inspects the damage left by a wildfire during what should be Australia's wet season. The severity of the devastation is surprising and alarming. After 30 years in the fire service, Rees is fighting an enemy he no longer recognizes.
Bushfires are part of the Australian phenomenon. They've been around for millions of years. What's changing is how the fires behave, the frequency of the fires, and the way that they burn and the things that can change during those fires.
After a decade of drought, these grassy hillsides have become the most combustible kind of fuel, deprived of moisture for years. And there's something else that Rees has noticed, something that tells him a greater force is at work than just simply a dry spell.
It's also changing the short-term weather patterns, giving us this volatility, there's spikes in the weather that is causing us to go from calm days to very, very blow-up fire condition days, just out of the blue.
Extreme heat. It's not just happening in Australia.
To the weather now, and no surprise, it is awful.
Chicago, 1995. Temperatures over 100 degrees kill 739 people in only 5 days. And in Europe, 2003, more than 30,000 perish when a record-breaking heat wave grips the continent. Of the 21 hottest years on record, 20 have occurred since 1980. There are some people saying, look, the long history of the planet, it's always had spikes, up and down.
Climate has changed throughout Earth's history for natural reasons. The difference is that in the future, climate change will come on much faster than any change in the history of civilization.
How can experts such as Dr. Michael Oppenheimer be so confident that this current warm-up is unusual? The reason can be found back in the Ice Core Laboratory in Boulder. In layer after layer, going back hundreds of thousands of years, scientists can measure tiny samples of atmospheric gases that have been trapped and preserved. And there's one gas in particular that follows the rise and fall of temperature almost perfectly. When temperatures go up, there is more of it. When temperatures go down, there is less. That gas is carbon dioxide, CO2. And in analysis after analysis, Serres and his team find something alarming.
We find carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere today are higher than anything we've seen in the past 600,000 years. This is telling us that present-day climate is very unusual.
CO2, carbon dioxide, is not pollution. In fact, it's essential to life on Earth as we know it. Animals exhale it, plants and trees breathe it in. And carbon dioxide plays another vital role on this planet.
It's one of the gases in our atmosphere that helps keep the Earth warm. When the sun's energy hits the Earth, some of it is absorbed and some reflected back into space. CO2 traps more of that heat energy and holds it in the atmosphere.
That's the greenhouse effect, and it's a good thing, because without that natural greenhouse effect, Earth would be about 60 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than it is now. It would be a frozen desert, and humanity would never have developed.
All the greenhouse gases together, CO2, methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, make up only 1% of our atmosphere. Not much. But the climate history has shown how even slight changes in the amount of those gases, particularly carbon dioxide, can swing the Earth's climate from one extreme to another. And as scientists have discovered, never since human beings first walked the Earth have carbon dioxide levels been this high. The question is, why?